Sincerely close to finishing an edited video, and it's not a video where I really am gonna upload it. I've never had a video quite like this on my channel, and I just feel like spreading awareness about all of this because a lot of you that are paying attention probably already know about these incidents, but I just think the mentality that so many people have of ICE being justified in what I consider absolute overreaches in power. Like this is so unconstitutional, and it's gotten to the point where I feel like we need to beware of what's going on. However you feel about it, I would like to know somebody that thinks ICE was justified in Jonathan Ross's unaliving of Rennie Good within the first minute, especially. I don't know, probably less so on lives. It matters to not say certain words. But first of all, I posted an article of this on my page. I am going to upload a video, but these are all things that like I feel like I reach more people in lives. So I hope I get a little bit more traffic. I'll repeat it. But there's a woman, Donna Hughes Brown. You can look up this story. Oh, thank you for the flower. She is excuse me, I think her and her husband live in Missouri. She's been married for 37 years, lived in the US for 40 years, is here legally from Ireland. Hey, Mr. Carey. Um, how are you doing? There's this woman, I posted an article about it. She was detained for 5 months. It was actually in Fort Campbell, Kentucky, the detention center she was at. That's up by Cincinnati. This woman flew to Ireland for a funeral, came home, and was detained at the Chicago airport. It's been about 6 months ago now. And she was detained for 5 months because they used a morality clause. Thank you, Mr. Carey. They used there's this thing that they can detain for like anything just suspecting anything. But also there's like a morality clause. This is insane. Trump is going to enforce morality clauses with ICE. This woman was an American citizen. She was married to an American citizen for 37 years. I don't understand. How could she like get on a plane and go to Ireland? And then she comes back, she gets detained at Chicago airport. This is a white woman. This happened already. She was let go in December, but she was in Fort Campbell, Kentucky detention center for 5 months before they let her go home to her husband. Like it was a real probability that they were going to like send her off to Ireland for 10 years. For some reason, her husband said she might have to go back for 10 years. And like, I don't even know if it's like the attention given to the story is what got her out or what. It's just weird. Like, because he was going to the press, like Newsweek made an article about it. And like, if you look it up, the more recent ones will pop up. I posted one of the ones that's been written since he was let out. So that is insane to me. It's like trudging through rough. How are you all? Sorry, Mr. Carey. We're doing pretty good. You know what I mean? It's a bunch of the same old, right? Like I'm sure it is with everybody. Okay, now that I got a few more people. A white Irish woman who had lived here for 40 years legally was detained coming home from Ireland. She went to a funeral of a family member in the Chicago airport. She was detained because of a morality clause, because she had bounced a few checks and was charged with two misdemeanors 10 years ago. This white Irish woman who was a citizen, they were just talking about deporting her because of morality. Are you fucking kidding me? Our president is the person that he is, and you're going to talk about deporting a woman because of two misdemeanors. I've been arrested before. I wasn't charged with anything. I'm sure a lot of you have, backgrounds that's like, so if you are a legal immigrant here, you also have to fear being deported. I don't think I don't like that they spent so much of our tax dollars going after that woman. That just seems like this is the shit that they're doing. People need to be aware of this. New York City council member, a man who is legally here from Venezuela of all countries. He went to a court date yesterday and this man was detained. He was doing everything right. He is here legally. He went to the court date because that's what he's supposed to do is a legal immigrant. And now they're talking about like they might send him back to Venezuela where they don't even want Americans. Like that is just insane. So this New York City Council had a press conference. This will be in my video. I swear I'll upload it today. I have a video that has all of this, an edited video. I just reached many more people in lives. So we talked about the white Irish lady that was detained for 5 months due to a morality clause because she had two misdemeanors 10 years ago because she bounced some checks. Most of us, if you've been alive long enough, chances are you bounced a check or two. This is insane. And then this New York City Council member goes to court yesterday because he was a legal immigrant going through the legal process, and they're using our tax. They're like the illegal people that are here truly illegally. I agree, they should be deported. Sick of seeing people say this has happened before. This has always happened before. No, it hasn't. Stop lying. This has never happened before in our country, and you know it. Yes, there's always been deportation of immigrants, illegal immigrants. Yes, but they've never went literally door to door. JD Vance said that they're going to start going door to door, and they're doing that in Minnesota already. They're going door to door. I don't know about you. I have two big dogs. I don't feel comfortable with law enforcement officers. I know we've got to depend on them sometimes, and there are good ones, and it's a shame because the good ones are going to be the ones that suffer the most. And but I also don't understand how you couldn't see it even if you were one of the good ones. There was a case in North Carolina last year where this officer let himself into somebody's house and shot their dog, who was contained behind a gate. And he shot and killed their dog, lied about it. But because they had home security camera, they caught him walking into their house. Uh, he knocked on the door first, but he walked in once he realized nobody was home. Usually there's children in the home. Thank God they weren't there that day at that time. God. And he killed a dog named Zelda and lied through his teeth. They won't release who the officer was. And that's another case that's getting more attention now. They just they if they can, just like the ICE agent that unalived a man on New Year's Eve. Yes, that man was doing something wrong. No, he didn't deserve to get unalived because of it. These are the nuances. Yes, Renee Good was agitating. And she, in my opinion, shouldn't have put herself in that position, in my opinion. But the more I see of this, like them just going to gas stations, surrounding people at gas stations, the more I actually am grateful for the agitators. I never thought I'd say that. The more I understand it, the more I'm like, okay, if I was at a gas station and there was ICE harassing people, I would be in fear for my own life, even as a citizen, because of the way they're so gun happy and trigger happy. We talked about a lot of stories. There was a DoorDash thing. However you feel about it, you could order DoorDash, and ICE might be following the DoorDash delivery driver, and they might put you and your children, your family in harm's way running into your house, which like I said, shame on that woman that did that. But she was panicked. Actually, the more I watch that video, shame on that man. The husband of the house was like upstairs and his wife's freaking out, had to be like, honey, come down here. Anyways, you're not including all the facts, you're just repeating what you hear on the news. Well, what other facts do you need? And I did think, is there more to the story? It was published in several places, and I'm pretty sure it would have been corrected by now. The Irish woman had two misdemeanors from writing bad checks. They decided to use our tax dollars instead of going after people that just waltzed across the border the last few years. They're going after people that have been here for 40 years. What facts am I missing? And so, same thing with the kids at Target. Two kids at Target, yes, they were mouthing off to ICE. Yeah, 17, 18-year-old boys, they were mouthing off. They were saying F you over and over again because of these babies, these men that have the ego, larger than anything else. Then they get mad, brutalize them. No, I don't think that that should be happening. And you're being conditioned to accept this if you're accepting it and think it's okay. Roosevelt High School, hey, the Dias cast, how are you doing today? There was a chaos is to disrupt our emotional states, isn't it? Yes, Keith. How are you, Keith? I need to email you still. Don't I haven't forgotten, Keith. So there was a high school where students were present when ICE came and took away one of their teachers. I don't, how can you watch these kids talk about how traumatizing that was? Unless you're going to think everything is a psyop, which I get it. Like I've said that before. I don't trust anything 100% either, but I don't think that this was fake. And the teacher they detained was released within like a day or two or three. So they weren't here illegally. Any of you, some dudes who hate big government, love an oppressive police force, absolute contradictory, dipshits. I completely agree. I don't know how to say your name. Gaius, I completely agree. It's crazy. Could you imagine if this shit was going on when Biden was president? Everybody on the right, all the MAGA people that are still okay with it, they wouldn't be okay with it. And it just shows how I hate to use the term brainwashed because I know how like patronizing and negative that is, but it's just I don't know what else to say. So they did a walkout when they went back to school because these kids couldn't go to school. These are the same kids who were like what, like 9 to 13 when the whole country was shut down for a freaking year a few years ago. Like these kids have already been through so much. It really pisses me off that they're not supposed to go to schools, especially during school hours. Like you couldn't figure out where that teacher lived and go to their house. This is an intimidation tactic. They're doing this to scare all of us. Yeah, that's my opinion. But like, I don't see how you could see this shit. Several ICE officers captured on camera the last few days saying this exact same thing to people. Haven't you learned your lesson? Didn't you guys learn your lesson? No, the more you brutalize people, the more people are going to go out and agitate you and obstruct your bullshit operations where you go and detain people that have been here for 40 years at an airport. Like, this is bullshit, guys. If you don't see it for like Trump, I wouldn't go as far to call him a dictator, but if you don't see this authoritarian overreach, the the national pride, and I don't think nationalism is a bad thing all the time. I do think it's important to be patriotic about where I come from. But you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this white supremacist MAGA bullshit. And no, I don't think all people that are MAGA are white supremacists. But at this point, if you still consider yourself Trump MAGA, I know make America great again doesn't necessarily mean Trump. If you support Trump, you support a PDFIO. You support a man that is known for what 34-time convicted felon, and I get it. Like, I used to look at it like they're just going after him. He's not really that bad of a felon. I used to think the same thing too. So I'm not going to like call people dumb, but now like they're talking about these people that they're getting, some of them were convicted rapists. What about all the people on the Epstein list? What about that? I'm glad, just like anybody else, when you hear that person molested a child, that Jonathan Ross had like put his hand through the car window of and was trying to get him. Yeah, I am grateful that there's people that really want to get people like that, but like at the same time, that cannot be used as an excuse to excuse. I posted a video on my community tab from Sarah Holcomb. She's a former Washington, D.C. reporter. This woman is awesome. She's so funny. She's a comedian now, too. So her videos are like funny, but also informative. And notice, do you guys remember around COVID? It was like the comedians that were the most informational. It was the comedians who were spreading the most information and being the most helpful. Do you remember that? And now I see it happening again. Um, anyways. God bless President Trump. God bless somebody that shields pedophiles beyond ether. You need to know when you say shit like that, that's how it comes off to any smart, discerning, critically thinking person. Okay. We need to start shaming people. Trump is awesome. So pedophiles are awesome. People who are friends with pedophiles are awesome. Hey, Coon. Thumbs down my shit all you want. That you guys are enforcing the worst of the worst scum of the earth, focusing on these things. Meanwhile, they're breaking laws. Trump is breaking laws, not releasing these files. And Massey is one of two people that are doing something about it. Because that's how us Kentuckians are. Massey is one of the only good politicians we've got left. If you don't know about him, wouldn't take you long to look up his record and see he just doesn't go along to get along. No, actually, it was the people on the right on social media spreading the most information, but they were just being shut down by left-wing ideologues, US people said. Well, it was people on the right that just were even willing to spread information, period, and see it for what it was, an experimental medicine they're making us all guinea pigs for. I'm sorry, as soon as it messes with your DNA, mRNA, they use things to try to find fragments of DNA. They use horseshoe crab blood to try to find contaminants and all the other vaccines. I mispronounce it wrong on purpose. And so you're telling me we're going to put like fragments of DNA and that's okay now? Because used to, that wasn't okay. It's called recombinant DNA. You can look it up. And I know mRNA, these people are playing God. I don't know enough. I don't know as much as a lot of these experts, but I know enough to know. Just like I wouldn't ever want to buy a car the first year it comes out. Not that I could ever financially do that, anyways. But like, you don't buy a car the first year it comes out. You don't take a medicine as soon as it comes out, unless you're like, in a situation where it's life or death, of course, then you probably would take something that's more experimental. Um, Nobody's agreeing with me. Somebody just said nobody's agreeing with me. People that speak like that, you are shout out to all the moms still alive because they aren't purposely trying to interfere with ICE. You guys are you just make yourself look like you're less human. When you cheer on, I said the same thing about Charlie Kirk, the same thing about people on the left who were like gleeful over this man's unaliving. I'm sure all of you guys that are saying go Trump, like saw that and saw it for what it was and was like, ooh, this is gross. Yes, she shouldn't have been there. But you could also argue Charlie shouldn't have been a sitting duck in this open thing. He was just like a target. I'm sorry, that was a lot of stupid decisions made on a lot of people's parts. That's why I thoroughly believe that was a setup. That was obviously planned. And everybody can agree with that. And that this is our country now, where assassinations take place in front of us. The wife is like all happy. And obviously, this was planned and it just happens in front of our faces. And one of the reasons we can is because of the divide and conquer. I don't so all of you guys that are saying Trump and Trump, what about this woman who was here for 40 years and was detained in a Chicago airport because 10 years ago she had two misdemeanors. Her name is Donna Hughes Brown. You can look this up. Detained for 5 months because 10 years ago she got two misdemeanors for writing bad checks. And I read every article about it. If there's more to the story, I just feel like this has been documented for months now. She was just released in December. This is a white Irish woman. Can you explain that? Can you explain? And there's probably people that would still be like, "Oh, it's her fault. It's her fault for getting two misdemeanors because they're like holier than thou and they barely lived life and they haven't ever gotten arrested." You are delusional. I feel so bad for your kids. Ooh, what a low blow trying to bring my kids into it. Well, anybody that actually knows my kids knows how awesome I am by default. Okay. I've been told by way too many teachers and way too many of my kids' friends' parents that my children are exceptional, that actually have met them and been around them in real life. Nothing some goober says on the internet could hurt my feelings. And not that it's the only thing that matters. They're super beautiful. One of my sons, the way genetics is, he's a quarter indigenous and Hispanic. He's way darker skin than me. He has dark hair, dark eyes, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful boys. All of my boys. One happens to be like tan, even not being tan. I do. I worry about him. I worry about him getting harassed because he is obviously Hispanic. So, like, I never thought I would feel like that under Trump's administration, honestly. And it makes me mad. When something makes me feel unsafe, I get mad. The mama bear comes out in me. I woke up, I saw the thing. Yeah, those boys at Target were saying fuck you to the ICE agents. They didn't deserve what they got. They are trying to condition everybody. And once it actually affects you or somebody, a white Irish lady was detained for 5 months because of two misdemeanors 10 years ago. Nobody can say anything back to that. Nobody can say, are you saying my eyes are too far apart? Oh my God. Paul, this is so great. I have never been told that before. I know, like, of all things to say about my face, and you're going to say my eyes are too far apart, such a fucking loser. If you're the kind of person that goes and says things like that to people while they're talking about World War III starting, all of our rights being eroded, unconstitutional things happening on American soil over and over again. No, I don't think 18 and 17-year-old boys deserve to be brutalized by ICE because they said fuck you to them. I don't think Renee deserved to get shot in the face, and the law says that. He could have stepped out of the way. The law says that. I posted a video by Sarah Holcomb. She goes over it, okay? It is very clear. You don't shoot at people in their cars. All of you that are okay with it are fucked up. It's evil. It's fucked up to be okay with this, just like it was fucked up to cheer on Charlie Kirk being assassinated because you didn't like the things that he said, like the action she took, but you're okay with the default being she deserves to be unalived. This is America. You're not patriotic if you really do think because a woman tried to evade cops, they can step in front of her car, put themselves in harm's way. They're trained not to. And this man was had 10 years experience and he himself was a trainer. He is training ICE to this has been documented. 2014, 2015, they wrote about, thank you, soy boy. They wrote about how ICE or border patrol agents, excuse me, were stepping in front of cars on purpose in order to to use lethal force. This has been documented. And I said that. I think he did it on purpose. How about that? I'm the one with the YouTube channel that has like 3,000 subscribers and way more views than anybody who just says, Trump, you literally sound like a robot. Say I'm an idiot, say whatever you want. You're just helping me get over 200 people at once in my chat. What is idiotic about me being concerned about a woman who lived here for 40 years going to a funeral back home in Ireland and getting detained? This could affect her the rest of her life. At her age, being detained for 5 months, she said it wasn't a pleasant experience. It was unsanitary, all the shit you could think of. That could affect her the rest of her life. And her husband said she's more patriotic than most Americans. A lot of immigrants are. It's the immigrants that come from other places that really know how good we have it are spoiled rotten. And if you support Trump, you support a pedophile. If you support Trump, you support what they're doing with the Epstein files. And you're it's like the more that he holds back, the more I believe all the crazy stories about him. I'm sure you guys haven't even heard because you're just like the snowflakes on the left you made fun of for years. You put blinders on and you won't consider any information outside of yay, yay, rah, rah, Trump. It's really pathetic. If Biden did any of this stuff, you all would see it for what it was. If Biden was brutalizing Americans through unconstitutional law enforcement agencies, you would be like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe this is America. And a lot of people say the Gestapo. And even a few days ago, I was like, okay, like don't say things like that, that almost like, when people cry racism when it's not too racism, then it takes away from the racism. But this girl, I should post her video. She made a great comparison to like slave capturers. And that's something a lot of people don't want to go close to in this country. But that's what's really happening here. They're detaining people for absolutely no good reason, just based on how they look, racial profiling. Like, these are all things that we should all be against as Americans. But they've done a really good job brainwashing you and making you think that your side is right and always right, even though nobody's ever right 100% of the time. You like are so I'm so glad I'm a registered independent and I can think for myself. And I've never fallen victim. I always said I lean towards the right for several years now. And I'm going to stop saying that because I don't want to say I lean towards the side that loves somebody that shields pedophiles from repercussions legally. Fact Fuse loves pedophiles. Let's see. Who else loves pedophiles? As an American, I want my city to be safe because they are a lot of legal immigrants and also a lot of criminals that are here illegally. I don't feel safe and I'm worried about my children. Spirits and swords, I understand. I moved from a small town in southern Indiana that was being absolutely overrun by immigrants. And I wonder if ICE is ever going to show up there. I've spoken out about this on my channel a lot. I still don't think Renee Good should have gotten shot in the face. Okay. And she was driving by him for two of the shots. Like, if you aren't like so brainwashed, you'll be able to see they're trying to condition us and think that this is all okay. This is like 17, 18-year-old boys. Yeah, agitators. I don't agree with that. But I also understand it more and more now. If I was at a gas station and ICE came and started surrounding somebody, I would be scared for my own life as an American citizen. Because I said this already, they're so trigger happy. And like that's what is unsafe. So the illegal immigration, honestly, it didn't really raise the crime rate in the town we are from. And I've always said that too. They didn't bring a lot of crime with them. They didn't. They took all the fucking resources, though. They made it so 50% of the children at school didn't speak English. And when you hear all this stuff about Americans being illiterate, I'm always like, maybe it has something to do with the entire school systems having 50% of children that can't speak the fucking language. And I know they have like Spanish tests for them or whatever. They might even like grade it on some kind of bell curve to make up for that. I have no idea. But it's not right. And that's the shit we need to be talking about, not Haitians eating cats and dogs. There's real issues. There's no rentals in certain towns. And then they get to pile up like 20 or 30 people in a one or two bedroom apartment. But we can't do that as white people. Trust me, I'm pretty fair and balanced. We love ICE. So you love people. Okay. If you're still in here, woman was detained in Chicago after going back to home to Ireland. She's a legal citizen here. She has a green card, been married to an American citizen for 37 years, went home to Ireland for a funeral, came back, was detained in Chicago, and ended up in her being in detention for 5 months. 5 months because 10 years ago she had two misdemeanors from writing bad checks. Like I said, most of us have written some bad checks before. If you're old enough, we still use checks sometimes, but you know what I mean? Used to, you used them a lot more. It was easier without online banking to not, realize you're about to overdraft. And I'm guessing it was probably some pretty big checks because usually you don't get misdemeanors. So I don't know the exact details, but I don't believe that like if she's free and clear 10 years later, she should be getting deported because of a morality clause. That's a slippery slope. And if you don't understand that, you're not thinking critically. This isn't an opinion. If you can't see how a person who's been here for 40 years with a green card getting detained because of things she's not even dealing with legally anymore, a past, like so many people have misdemeanors, it could turn into them doing the same thing against US citizens. You guys are just too blinded to see it by your love of a pedophile. And I mean that. I don't want, like, it's okay to be like, I'm still waiting to see. Like, I do believe he's doing some good things, but every good thing, it's like, oh, the mortgage rate's lowering, the credit interest. It's like for a year. Oh, you're going to lower that shit for a year. Thanks. A lot of people won't even be able to take advantage of that 1 year. He's doing that for midterms, any of the stuff that he did that was actually good. I'm glad that they secured the border. I'm glad they're not just letting people walk across the border in droves like they were doing before. But I don't want them going after people who have been here for 40 fucking years. A white Irish woman. Does that matter to you guys? She's a white Irish woman. You would never look at her and think she wasn't from here, doesn't belong here, which is a stupid thing to say because this country is made of immigrants. Okay. And I love cities, but I wouldn't feel safe in a city right now. That's one reason we picked up and moved hours away from any major city. I feel safer being out in the middle of nowhere. I know not everybody can do that, but like if I lived in a city where ICE came to town, I would feel unsafe. I would not let my son, who is tan, go to school. This is America. This is the America we live in. It's fucking crazy. Um, Trump is just the latest one. Are you talking about like pervert? They're like people, you're so if you think everything died with Epstein, there's not still a traffic ring. And I have a shorts about it. They say his youngest victim was 14, and there's so many pictures of him with like toddlers. His youngest victim was not 14 years old, in my opinion. It was way younger than that. And that's a fact a lot of you Megyn Kellys can't compute. You know, the cognitive dissonance is so real because then you would see your idols have fallen. You should have never pedestalized them in the first place. They should have never been somebody that you looked up to in place of a fucking god. That's how people believe. If you still believe in Trump after all the shit he's done, what has to happen? I guess you need to starve to death for you to finally see it. If you still worship Trump, it's okay if you're more neutral, like it is what it is. We're all part of this fucked up system. It, it's a religious fervor. It's not right. You should never feel like that about any person. Don't believe everything anybody says, including me, you know? Like we're all just people. ICE is here to protect the Somalian people, should be deported immediately, never allowed to enter. If you've been here 40 years and you didn't get a green card, then you're just not right. She did have a green card, Sean. Listen to me. This woman was here completely legally. They used a clause that's a morality clause and said, even though you're here legally, we might deport you because you're not moral enough to stay with a bunch of pedophiles. Seriously? Seriously? Seriously. This woman was deported on a morality clause. You guys need to get that through your heads. It could happen to anybody, basically, unless you're like a pretty fucking Amish person with no record. Oh my God. And she was married to a citizen. I don't know her exact details, but she was married for 37 years. I don't know how that plays out. I'm pretty sure that's legal. You don't have to obtain official citizenship, and it probably would have been able to happen anyways. But I do know, you know, people that work for it and go and get their citizenship and pay like the $50,000 that it costs, they're all like, they don't believe in illegal immigration either. There's a bunch of good immigrants. Oh, thank you, Pyramid. How are you doing? I'm sorry. The chat's pretty crazy. A bunch of pedophile supporters in the chat. I'm sorry if you're not one, but ICE is the best organization ever. Yeah. Well, I'm glad I'm getting a lot of traffic just so I could say New York City council member also. So it was a woman here for 40 years from Ireland, detained for 5 months. And they said they were going to send her back to Ireland for 10 years. I think personally that all the attention it got, the story was published in Newsweek. I think it's because of the attention her sweet husband going and trying to fight for her. And he had voted for Trump and he's outspoken about how he regrets that now. I didn't even say that. But the New York City council member here legally from Venezuela, of all places, Venezuela, a torn apart, war torn country. And he was here legally till October of this year. Had a court date yesterday, went to his court date like you're supposed to do if you want to remain legal. And they detained him. He got one phone call and he called the New York City Council, spoke to one of them, and they can't get in touch with him. And this woman at a press conference was like, this is pretty messed up. Their phone number doesn't work for the detention center he got sent to. They can't talk to him. You guys taking away due process from all of us is a scary thing. You're literally cheering on the demise of our country through you're just trampling on the Constitution when you believe in ICE doing these things. Okay, deporting illegal immigrants. I get that. I want them deported too. They're a child rapist. Oh, of course. That makes me even happier when I hear they were deported, just like anybody. You're literally supporting a person who is supporting child traffickers and pedophiles when you support Trump. Um, that is such a minor and isolated case and doesn't excuse the millions of illegal immigrants that cross the border. If they stay out of the way instead of acting stupid, there's nothing to fear. Well, like I said, I fear for my kid that looks the most Hispanic, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. If there was ICE in town, I would keep him at home. And he was born in Louisville, Kentucky. Third generation American on, it shouldn't matter. And TDS is rotting her brain. I used to support Trump. I can just actually critically think. You all are supporting a person that supports not convicting pedophiles. He's going against court orders. And if Trump, if excuse me, sorry, Biden did anything that Trump was doing right now, if he refused court orders, you all would see it for what it was and be like, I can't believe this. This isn't our country. No, I don't think Renee Good should have done what she did. I don't think it warranted getting shot in the face. I know I'm not on the wrong side here, seeing it for what it is, especially after you see the way they've terrorized high school students. They go to public places, they're so untrained. They slip on ice in their gun discharges. If you haven't seen that video, they aren't safe. They aren't safe for any of us to be around. It's no, it's not an excuse that there's a bunch of illegal. Can't you see this for what it is? Both sides are the same. An elite global government is working against all of us. They planned it out this way. They planned this out. So when we're the majority, we're literally starving because we can't afford life. We're not going to do what we could do and actually come together against the things that really do matter, but especially since our rights are going to be so eroded because half of us were okay with a woman getting shot in the face in broad daylight at 9:40 a.m. Maybe she was following them around the day before. I don't know. But why does Christine Nome have to lie through her teeth saying that she had followed them all day or for hours and they were stuck in the snow and she came up on them when they were trying to get unstuck from the snow and rammed at them? Why did they even say any of that? And how can you trust? Even if you think he was in the right, that was all lies. Those were all lies. How can you trust any of that? They didn't let the ambulance go near her. There's proof of the people, the EMT workers carrying her body a pretty long distance. I understand that they need to preserve the crime scene. I don't know for sure, but it seemed like it was like a longer distance than the crime scene to me. I'm a registered independent. Whenever I did vote, I leaned towards the right. I'm just not brain warped and brainwashed. You're okay with those people trying to kill police. You're a hypocrite. She wasn't trying to kill police. Her tires were turned this way. That's why she didn't run into him whenever he incapacitated her. The Trump administration is disrupting international law and alliances and the world economy. Judge a tree by its fruit. The fruit is rotten. Thank you for saying that, the rock shaman. And thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. I don't have to be right here. I'm not like you guys that obviously have to be right. I'm not like that. We'll see how this all plays out. I'm going to upload my edited video of the stories I talked about today on live, and I'm going to put it as like episode one, something one, and we're going to document this. So a year or two or three from now, all of you that will actually see it for what it is can like look back and yeah, if you're okay with everything that ICE is doing, that's fine. That's your prerogative as an American. A lot of us aren't. And if you can, be okay with a woman getting shot for, even though it's completely against the law, he could have stepped out of the way of the car, and you're okay with them pulling the wool over our eyes and saying it was self defense. I think you have a lot of hate in your heart, and that's not for me to contend with. I don't really care. I want to promote that the best way we can move forward is to vote with our dollar and be as self-sustainable as possible. And I'll actually put my money where my mouth is. I don't depend on any government officials. I don't lean towards Trump or anybody. I want to be debt free and I want to live like an Amish person without being Amish. And like that's the only and I'll actually be able to survive this upcoming apocalypse because of it. America doesn't love ICE, John. No. He got in front of her car. He did it on purpose. It's been documented that Border Patrol agents have been known to do this on purpose. They've been known to put themselves in the path of cars so they can use lethal force. And this dumb fuck was a trainer himself. So he's training other ICE agents. Obviously, it's not good enough. You guys, they've lowered the prerequisites to be an ICE agent in a lot of ways. It's a fucking joke. And if you're okay with all of that, I'm glad. I'm glad. Ignorance is bliss sometimes. But it's only going to be a matter of time until you understand the overreach. If you can't see it now for what it is. And yeah, I think they could do better than just going around to public places. I know. Love you guys. I'll see you soon.